Go. All right, so I want to welcome everyone to our session titled Welcome to Promising Practices with Ought to Be Partners, an innovation approach to job training for students with profound disabilities. And we have presenting with us today, Joel Vidovic. He is the Executive Director of the Autism Model School. So that is a community school here in Northwest Ohio in the Toledo area. And Joel just really has a unique setting, probably different than most of your schools. But I had the wonderful opportunity to visit with Joel earlier this school year and was very impressed with some of the things that he has going on and wanted to take the opportunity to let him share that with folks because I think there's lots of potential with what Joel has happening. So a little bit about Joel. Joel currently serves as the Executive Director for the Autism Model School, which, as I said, is a public charter school serving approximately 100 students in Toledo, Ohio. He has a master's degree in special education and applied behavioral analysis from The Ohio State University and has been a board certified behavioral analyst since 2006. For the past 24 years, Joel has maintained a professional focus on assisting individuals with developmental disabilities in the pursuit of happiness. His work has been published in the peer-reviewed journal Behavioral Analysis and Practice, and he has presented at various professional conferences. So we welcome Joel today to our session, and I am excited for him to share with you all the good things he has going on at the Autism Model School. So a little bit about why I asked Joel to present today. As I said, I was able to visit his school and have a tour of a program that he has started up there with the Ought to Be Partners. And I was just very impressed with how Joel was able to modify the work setting, like just these creative, clever, simple modifications that I think have huge potential, right? I mean, oftentimes I hear people say, well, the student needs to do this, the student needs to do that. But instead, Joel looks at it like, how can we modify the environment to help the student find the most success, right? We're not trying to modify the kid, we're modifying the environment. And I just love that idea. I also think with what he has started, there is great potential for work-based learning. There is especially entrepreneurship is how I could see this, or a simulated work environment. Definitely, maybe not always for the clientele that is supported at the Autism Model School, but maybe with other students, right? If you're in a traditional school setting, then you might think, oh, there might be some industry recognized credentials that would really fit nicely with the kind of program that Joel has started. And then that also could lead to apprenticeships. So just so much potential with what he's started, what he's trying to give these students some skills. I think it's great. It's a promising practice, right? I'm not going to say that we are at a best practice. This is an ideal practice, but he started with a promising practice, an activity, procedure, or approach that may lead to improved outcomes and increased efficiency. And I truly believe that what he is doing is creating opportunity for improved outcomes for these students. And I'm excited for him to share that with you today. So with that being said, I am going to welcome Joel. I'm going to stop sharing so that he can share his screen and his presentation.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. Before I put my screen up, I'm just going to comment the work that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is also, it's not just mine, that's for sure. Allison Thomas is our Director of Transition Services here at Autism Model School. She's on the screen. I'll be doing the talking, but I definitely want to make sure that everyone understands that this program has been, that we're going to describe to you, has been the work of many people over the course of the last, how long has this been going, Allison? 9 years? 8 years? Somewhere in that ballpark. Time flies when you're having fun, though. So let's go ahead and see if I can get my screen up. Okay, is it full screen for everyone?
It is full screen. Looks
Okay,
good.
perfect. All right. So I'll just, for those of you who are joining us just now, Lisa introduced who we are as a school, but I'll give you a quick overview. We are a public community school. We serve about 100 students. The interesting thing about our school is 100% of the students who come to our school are students with who qualify for special education services. We certainly specialize in serving students on the autism spectrum, but we do have a variety of students who attend who qualify under other eligibility codes. We were founded in 1998. We've been around for this. We're celebrating our 25th year of existence this year. And we were founded by parents of children on the autism spectrums. So there's a very unique culture here, one that tries to fully understand the realities of the different challenges our students face, but also the challenges that their families face as they progress through the years of their school age years and into young adulthood. So before we get into our program, I came across this quote, and I want to explain a little bit about this because it has to do with a little bit about how our mindset is when we think about outcomes for our students. Back in 2012, the U.S. Department of Education funded the Center on Secondary Education for Students with Autism Spectrum Disorder. And the purpose of that organization was to design and evaluate a comprehensive school-based program for adolescents on the autism spectrum. By June of 2013, they held their first advisory board meeting. And at that meeting, they had national leaders, they had autistic self-advocates, and they had families of adolescents with autism. And they were there to really kind of guide the purpose of the research that they were going to be doing. At the end of the meeting, they asked their participants to write on a Post-it note what their hopes were for the outcomes of their research. And this is the Post-it note that one of their folks wrote. For your subjects, I wish they would have said students, but for your subjects when they graduate, to have something to do, somewhere to be, and someone to love. So we've kind of embraced that mindset at Autism Model School. And, in terms of there are certainly some challenges in the employment world for individuals with autism. The rates of employment are pretty bleak. So there are hurdles for us. But by and large, we all need something to do. All of us need something to do. Let me see here. Yeah, there we go. On average, this is a nice little statistic from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. On average, we spend 50% of our waking hours at work. So if we're not working, if we're not employed, we got a lot of time to kill. And it's best when we stay busy. Here are some statistics you guys are probably aware of, although, again, we live in the autism world, and I'm not sure where you guys are all coming from. But people with autism experience the lowest employment rates among people with disabilities. It depends on where you look. The statistics kind of vary, but the outcomes are consistently bleak. People with autism are less likely to obtain full-time employment than people with other disabilities as well. So if they are employed, oftentimes they are underemployed. Not only that, but some of the more recent, there was an article that was published just in 2023, really indicating that there may be a lot of folks out there that we're not even showing up on our radar that are not accessing employment services. So Rue et al. 2023 estimated that only 1.1% of working age autistic adults who need employment services are actually receiving them. So our vocational rehabilitation systems, Medicaid, they're overwhelmed right now and not necessarily able to meet the demands. However, so we had this is actually the brainchild of our former director, who was a mother of 3 children on the autism spectrum. She began looking for creative solutions. Now, she wasn't an educator, but she was a really good idea person, and she had this phenomenal idea that we could possibly do something in the world of e-commerce for our students, and that there were options out there that there were unique characteristics about this type of work that might help some of our students, particularly those who are the most profoundly affected by autism, overcome some barriers. And e-commerce really is something to do. So this is a quarterly retail sales report that shows the percentage of all retail sales that were e-commerce. And that's from 2014 up through the fourth quarter of 2023. And you can even see, if you look at 2020, you see the little COVID bump where we all turned our lives online. But by and large, e-commerce is certainly a growing way of selling things. Some folks have gotten really creative with this. This is a gentleman named Ryan Grant. Ryan buys things from Walmart that are on sale on their clearance rack, and he sells them on Amazon. And this article was published about him and his creative employment option for himself in November of 2017. At the time, he was on track to hit $8 million in total sales by the end of the year. He had grown his company to 11 staff, making a salary for himself of about $150,000. So I want you to think creatively as we go through this about the different opportunities that there might be for folks on the autism spectrum to get involved in this kind of an endeavor. We're going to give you all the details on the program we've built, but I want you to think creatively about how this could possibly even be something that an organization could be developed where neurotypical folks were working side by side with people on the autism spectrum. A high school program could be developed where you had students in the special education world working side by side with students in a finance department. But it'll become more clear, I think, when you see how we're laid out. So it's got a name to it, the idea of flipping products from a retail store and selling them online. It's called retail arbitrage. You can Google that term and you'll find that it's got a definition similar to the one that's on the screen. And that's how Ryan Grant hits his business model. Is it a real thing? It is. This is a graph that shows the percent of units sold on Amazon that are sold by third-party sellers. That means folks like me or you who purchase products and market them for sale on Amazon. It's a fairly simple process to get involved with. And it was the basis for what we've created, which is a company called Ought to Be Partners. The image on the screen, I'm sure, is just a little mind-boggling. It's so busy. I will tell you, though, at Autism Model School, we very much believe that the devil is in the details. So we've created this map that basically outlines 5 different departments within our organization, how they interact with each other, and also how they interact with the community outside of our school. So you see that big black box, you've got different colors inside it. Our marketing department, product purchasing and development, they send information to our inventory and storefront management. That department interacts outside with Amazon, which goes outside the thick black box, and then Amazon sends us information about where to sell or where to send products. So I'm going to go through this. I put it up there so that you can see that there's been a lot of thought put into our structure. Okay, so the first step when you are embarking on this adventure of retail arbitrage and e-commerce is you have to download an Amazon seller app. This is the app that Amazon uses if you want to become a third-party seller. It's free to download, and then you set up an account to become a seller. It's various pieces of information that you need to put into the app, and then you're off and running. At that point, you can take the app into the community on your cell. You take your cell phone. We like to go to dollar stores because we're a public community school and we're not swimming in money. But over time, you could advance, and your products that you purchase for resale could extend in quality. You can shop anywhere. Think about all the experiences that there are to teach at this point as well. When we take profound individuals into the community and we get to work on making purchases and the soft social skills of engaging in any kind of storefront. But what we're really there to do is buy product that we're going to sell in our store. We can sell anything. We could sell things that our kids are really interested in. A lot of times when we're working with students on the autism spectrum, we try to focus on special interests. It's a way to motivate our students to engage and to make the quality of their work more enjoyable. So this might be a product that we pick up off the shelf because we have a student who loves the Avengers and comic book characters. Well, all we have to do is take that product. We're going to scan the barcode of the product with the Amazon Seller app using the camera function, and it's going to give us a whole bunch of information about that product. I need to move myself. There we go. Okay. So this is a type of screen that pops up when you scan a product. There's a couple of pieces of information on that screen. That red circle identifies the ranking of this particular product. So this is the 95,000th popular product in the toy department. So if you find something that is a really popular product, that number is going to be lower. The lower, the better. That's going to sell much more quickly on Amazon. So we can teach our students to make real simple decisions by using this information. We can give them some metrics to shoot for. Say, get something under 50,000. Shoot for something under 10,000. That's a real winner. You could put all sorts of graphic organizers to help the decision making here, and just some rules that kids have to follow. The next piece of information that's circled on the screen, the app will tell you how much that product is currently selling for on Amazon. What is the lowest price that it's currently for sale on? So this particular puzzle was found at a dollar store for, you guessed it, $1, but it was selling on Amazon for $6.99. The rest of that equation is that Amazon will charge a fee for fulfillment of an order. If somebody purchases this product from us, Amazon is the one that ships it to them, and they handle all of the interface with the customer. So if you think about kids on the autism spectrum and where we end up with some difficulties with work, customer service is a big one. All of the social interactions that we might have to have, or responding to timelines, deadlines, like somebody ordered the product, you've got to get it shipped to them immediately. Otherwise, you're going to get a bad ranking from your customer. What we do is we buy the products and we send them to the Amazon warehouse before they're ever purchased. Then they're listed on sale. When a customer buys them, Amazon is the one that handles that exchange, and then Amazon just sends us our money. So the flexibility of this for people who have sleep disturbances, people who have low work endurance, is exceptional. We can work when we want to work. We can stop working when we want to stop working, and our customers never know the difference. That's remarkably important for helping us overcome some barriers that can typically affect the employment success for people on the autism spectrum. Okay, once we have our products, there's a whole new thing to do. And that's what I want you to focus on, is all the different kinds of jobs that we're going over. There's different things for different skill sets and different interests. So once we have our product, we're back from the store, we're back from the community. Now we have to do some data entry. We've got to enter some information about the products we have into our Amazon storefront to tell Amazon what we have and how many. So kids who enjoy doing data entry or like to work with computers, there you go. Now we're going to move to the next step in the process, our warehouse management. So another thing to do. Now we've got to organize our product. We've got to stock it and get it into our where it's easily located later. So this is our little humble warehouse that we've assembled in our tiny little community school. It certainly doesn't necessarily look, I think there was somebody here who was in a back stock room, right? So it kind of looks like where you're attending this presentation, but it's a really good place for kids to work on all sorts of sorting skills. Some of our kids may be interested in working in grocery stores and stocking products, so we can get some real good hands-on experience in this particular portion of our school or of our organization. Okay, so once we have our products purchased and once we have them entered into Amazon's system so that Amazon knows what we have, and now we've organized our physical products in a way that they're accessible, Amazon spits out an order form to us, and they tell us how many of each product to send and where to send it. They have fulfillment centers all over the country. They're generally asking us to send them to those that are closest to us regionally. But now this form is going to create the next thing for our students to do, which is to fulfill orders to get them to Amazon's warehouse. I think this order is going to Joliet, Illinois. All right, so we've got our purchased products. They now need to be counted and sorted according to that Amazon form. Then they need to be packaged properly. And then ultimately we're back into the community to get to our local post office or UPS store. So I'm going to show you a little bit about our order fulfillment process now. Another thing to do in this organization. So this is a packaging table. Lisa had said at the beginning of this that we've created some simple modifications to help students do certain things. We like to consider this somewhat of an attempt at universal design so that we can incorporate and work around any skill deficits that a student might have to support them. So the table that we use for counting products out is sectioned off into a jig. We do work with a lot of students who have difficulty with counting with one-to-one correspondence. So the black frame that's hanging on the wall, we teach students to take that frame, match it to the number that's on the order form, and then place it on the same number on the table. So this becomes, instead of a counting task, it becomes a match to sample. And then they're taught to just place a product in each square on the table, starting in the upper left corner until they reach the black frame. And that helps our students kind of work around that complex or abstract process of counting with one-to-one correspondence. You'll notice that everything is color-coded. The stations are all set up the same, so we can work with establishing some routines. The color coding also helps with students who have difficulty with executive function skills and keeping things organized. All of our workstations are very structured, and they're structured in the same way. In a little bit, though, I'm going to show you how we actually teach these skills, because we do have an environmental arrangement that is designed to support, but we also have some very specific teaching procedures to get our kids going. But that's what an order fulfillment station looks like. Okay, here's another thing to do. Again, I don't hate to keep saying that, but I'm just trying to emphasize the variety of tasks that are occurring as part of this organization. So we have to have materials to ship products in. So we will recycle boxes that we use to order school supplies, and we will recycle paper that is, of course, not containing any confidential information, but we have to have insulation for our products so that they don't get damaged when we ship them to Amazon. So one of the tasks that we teach kids to do is to black out the barcodes on our recycle boxes. They take the tape off, they black out the barcodes, and then some of our students who maybe have low work endurance or maybe profoundly affected, maybe have significant cognitive disabilities along with their autism, we teach them to crumple paper and throw it in the basket. And then they get to take that basket over and deliver it to our giant shipping material supply station. And so there's all sorts of jobs. And again, I want to emphasize that when we created this at Model School, our intention was to make an organization that would allow every student at Autism Model School, regardless of how they were affected by their autism, to contribute in some way. So that's why the variety of jobs, and that's why the process. They'll take those little baskets, they'll bring them over to our shipping material supply station and dump them in so that we've got lots of paper that or insulation that we're ready to go. If you look at the bottom image on the screen there, you'll see that there's a bin underneath the table that is filled with crumpled paper. So there's yet another job that we've created, because now we need somebody to make sure that every station stays stocked with insulation materials. So there's been a lot of intention to the design and the workflow. Okay, so we're going to skip ahead now, though. Once we have products counted, sorted, and put into boxes, we now have to get those boxes ready for shipment. This is a a shipment or package shipment finalization station. Like that term? That's a mouthful. But you'll see that it's similarly coded because the clipboards will be moving from one station to the next. So the blue clipboard in the previous the table that was designed like a jig is moved over to this table. The red folder is moved over to this table, and now there's a yellow form on the table as well that is a graphic organizer to help with measurement. We need to have the student measure the length, the width, and the height of the box, and then they measure the weight of the box. And then that information gets pumped into Amazon's systems to produce postage. And the postage comes out, then the students cut out the postage, affix it to the box, seal the box, and they take it to our shipping department. This is just a closer view of that yellow clipboard. This is a graphic organizer designed to help, got a lot of color coding going on to help people organize information. This is so that they can measure the weight, the length, the width, and the height of the box. Okay, packages are sealed, and then it's time for another outing into the community, and we're off to the UPS store. I like to tell a little example. We had a student who attended our school previously who very rarely left his home. He didn't prefer to wear clothing when he was at home, so he was very accustomed to remaining inside his house. He did learn to wear clothing when he came to school, but I want you to get an idea of sort of the nature of his disability. Well, he became one of our head shippers. He would be more than happy to hop in the car. And you think about, I don't know how many of you work with students on the spectrum. I've been doing this for 20 years though, and I have met many, many folks who love to go for car rides. And it doesn't even matter where they're going as long as they're in the car. So we would take him to the UPS store. And the cool part about this is even though this student was very limited verbally and had some behavioral challenges that might impact his engagement with the community, the folks at the UPS store got to know him. They greeted him when he came in. And here he was having a meaningful interaction outside of his home and contributing to the overall success of this real organization that we were running out of Autism Model School. So kind of a neat opportunity for somebody with a profound disability to still get out and contribute. Okay, so once the products are sent through UPS to Amazon, they've got them in their warehouse and they are then listed for sale on our Amazon storefront to be partners. And yes, it's real, it's live, it's operational. We have a link on our website where you can go to it, and we sell real products there. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about some of the details in terms of how. Lisa, how much time do I have till, is this from 1:30 to 2:30, correct?
It is until 2:30, but we definitely want to leave at least 10 minutes
Sure.
at the end for any questions. And then I have a couple of slides I need to share.
Okay,
So
cool.
you've still got a good 20 minutes if you need them.
Okay, I think we're doing pretty good. So, so the how, we've have a very strong commitment to evidence-based practices here at Autism Model School. We're very connected to the research literature on, especially coming out of the field of applied behavior analysis. That's my area of expertise and my area of primary study. So we use a lot of task analysis and activity schedules. Every job within our organization is task analyzed, broken down into individual steps. We've, over the course of the last 5 years, been developing our own software program that is designed to support the use of activity schedules. Every step is now displayed one at a time using picture, video, written instructions, and audio cues within this custom-built software. I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a few minutes. And then we have very systematic prompting and positive reinforcement procedures that we use to teach students to use that software as the tool, so that we can get away from adults having to be there or teachers having to be there present all the time. The other side of the software, which is a neat thing, is that it's a teacher platform. It allows the teacher to measure the level of prompting that was administered on every step, and then we can produce a whole variety of reports to kind of measure and monitor student progress over time. I'll show you what it looks like. We have a name for it. We call it the Individualized Digital Assistant and Performance Tracker. We call it IDAPT for short. It is patent pending, so don't go getting any ideas. It's fully customizable. We can build TAs for just about anything just by snapping some photos, entering the text we want, and recording an audio cue. I'm going to skip through this because it's probably best for you to see it. Okay, so this is what it looks like when a student logs in. Obviously, we do more than just teaching e-commerce through this program. This is a student page who's learning how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or making a bowl of cereal, and then they're also working in the order fulfillment. This is a screenshot from a mobile phone, so it's a little limited in what you can see, but these icons would allow the student to press on the picture of the activity, and then they will be entered into the steps to start completing that activity. So if they press the order fulfillment, this screen would open up, and all of our students wear uniforms when they go to work. So the first step in almost all of our work-based TAs is to get your uniform on. You can see that there's a spot there for the written instruction to be read. If you press that play button, it will the audio recording will play, and it will say put work uniform on. The blue button then will advance to the next stage in the task. This is obviously a different step in the TA. I've advanced it quite a bit so you could see what it looks like. But this is where the student is now adding product to the table to count. You can see the black frame is on the table, and they've placed products from the left corner, moving right until they reach the black frame. So simultaneously, there's a clinician or teacher interface to this program. This is what that looks like. We have a customizable data collection system to measure the student's level of independence on the selected activity, whether they needed a full physical prompt, a partial physical prompt, gesture prompt, or independent. And you can put any prompting methods that you want to use there. If you don't want to use physical prompting, students don't like that, you can adjust that. This is just an example. Over here, once the student starts the activity, we have an automatic tracker that starts to record duration. Later on, we can run reports to look at the speed with which a student is completing an activity, so we can get some idea of competitive rates and whether or not we need to focus on increasing fluency, or whether or not that student's just doing fine. Some students can do jobs really, really well independently, but they may be a little bit slow, and maybe we need to emphasize their work speed to get them more competitive. Up in the right corner of the screen, you get a view of what the student's actually looking at. So if they're on a phone or a tablet and I'm standing 20 feet away or 30 feet away, I can still see what's on their screen, so I know what they should be doing for the task without necessarily needing to hover over them. The picture of the cat, the funky cat, that's actually where you can put the kid's picture if you want. We like funky cats. And then this menu over here on the left gives you just an idea of, there's a lot of different reports that we can run. So we're very data-based. We teach the kids to use these supports. We measure their progress, and then we can run all these different kinds of reports to help us evaluate progress over time, to troubleshoot where there's issues. We have one report that's an error analysis, so that we can really quickly identify what step in a TA are they needing the most help with, or are they lacking the most independence. So maybe we need to revise it. This is just a sample of one of the progress reports. We're big on graphs. We love our graphs here at Autism Model School, but we don't like to have to manually graph things with paper and pencil. Progress report time comes around. It's a very busy time for all of our teachers. This information is very helpful because it just automatically graphs for us progress over time. And you can see this is somebody's performance in our order fulfillment department. When they first started, they were completing about a little over 50% of the steps independently. And then over time, their performance moved up and to 100%. And the number of steps that they needed prompting with, that are represented by the blue and purple and pink lines, decreased, which is what we like to see. Increasing independence. Okay, so now the fun part. I'm going to show you a video of my bud Fred working in the order fulfillment department of our e-commerce lab. This is before the development of IDAPT. So the software that I just showed you is not in use in this video clip. This is when we were old school and we were using the 3-ring binders. 3-ring binders work just fine. We're trying to get flashy with iDapt, but you'll see Fred at work here, and I'm just going to let this play because Fred is the man. But this is the first video I'm going to show you of Fred. After this, I'm going to show you a second video of Fred that was taken a couple months later, just so you can see how much progress he made. I like graphs. I think everybody else likes videos.
About month or two.
Can you hear it?
Let's not find the table. They need a clipboard. Vince. I got a clipboard. You got your clipboard, nice job. I need a pen. Let's not find a pen, Fred. Write a name. Name. Right here. Right here. Right here. Right there. Nice job, Ron. Package finalized by. How about the need of this one? This one. That's right. Yeah. One, two. One, two. Information of the orders on the certain both and workshop. Workshop. It says that there is New York, New York, New York City. Why New York? A crime, Empire State Building. It's from New York, New York, New York, New York, New York. NY. Very good, Fred, you're at the destination. Yeah, Fred. That's how I want to be. Yeah. New York. It says New York, you're right. Yeah, it did. It says the back. Beautiful. And the rock doesn't rise this. Perfect. Perfect. And then the one right here. It says stick. Right? Right? Six. And nine. Nine. Then to the page. Stick. It's this. It's this. Yep, you got the yardstick off the wall. Very good. Right. Nice job.
Okay, in the interest of time, I'm going to move forward so that you can see what Fred looks like in action a couple months later. Now, a couple things I want to point out. That was a training session that we were actually doing to conduct some. We were conducting research on the effectiveness of our teaching procedures. This is a couple months later. Fred is now, he was learning to do the activity one-on-one. He was the only student in the room. He is now in the room working side by side with 3 other students. They're doing a different task. This is counting the products to fulfill the order. So where you saw him finalizing a package, now he's going to be preparing the order that would go in that package. But what I want you to focus on is the independence and the fluency, the speed. If you walked into this room and you saw these guys working at this pace and at this speed, I highly doubt that you would identify that any of these students were students with profound disabilities. Let's have a gander. Oh, Fred is the guy in the hat, by the way, in case I didn't mention that. He's in the back. Pretty sweet. There's not a lot of interaction with the instructor. That's by design. We wanted to fade out the need for checking in with us all the time and for confirmation and steps. The fluency is very evident, and he's working in a group now, and that's been strategically taught through this activity. Okay, so I want to show you another quick video here that displays some of the opportunities that we have to extend this teaching. Obviously, we were working on work skills and sort of process type tasks. We also have the opportunity, once those skills are mastered, to teach our kids some problem solving skills. One of the things that we would see a lot with kids that would go into the community is we would teach them to do a job. They were great. They could do the job. They could do it fluently. They could do it quickly, but only if everything was perfect. The minute there would be something that didn't go right, and our kids would freeze. So we do not own the rights to this music. I would need to point that out, but I still like the music, so I left it in the presentation, and please just do not tell on me.
So today we have decided to set up our students and we've manipulated the environment a bit. This is what we have going on this morning. Today, Fred will not have tape on his tape gun, and we've also taken all the tape out of the room in other places that he may think to look. Nick over here will not have the yardstick that's located on the wall to do the height of the box. And then the other student, Brad, will not have the shipment finalization form that should be on his clipboard. So we'll see how it goes.
I have no yellow paper on my clipboard. Miss Amy, my ruler is not up there. Hey Frank, why are you guys dressed up as home? Not and then an hour.
So Fred engaged in a little bit of theft there, but he stole Nick's tape. But the opportunity to practice, what do you do, and getting fluent, and what do you do when you're at work and something is missing or something is wrong, we incorporate that into our instruction within this setting. So just to wrap up, lots of things to do within this kind of a system. We have it all pretty well mapped out, and it would be easy to replicate and could be available for students in lots of different settings, whether that is self-employment and micro-enterprise when they leave school, whether they need to continue to work on some skills to get to competitive employment, and they could work within this kind of an organization as part of vocational rehabilitation. Or if they're really thriving and they love it, guess what? There are jobs in fulfillment centers all over the place, and they're good paying jobs. So there you have it. I think that's it. And I think I gave us about 12 minutes, Lisa. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Does anyone have any questions for Joel? I'm not hearing any, but I don't know, Joel, if you were able to see in chat. You got lots of positive praise. Genius way to integrate students in the community. Wow, they're all moving so quickly. This is awesome. I love this graphic. Awesome presentation. So lots of good positive feedback. People are impressed the way that I was the first time that I saw what was happening in Autism Model School.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate you attending and listening.
So let me just finish up here with some things to consider. If you like what Joel has started and you're thinking, maybe this would be something that my school might be interested in, just some things to consider. He does have a really good start to work-based learning happening. I just want to remind you, if you are thinking about, maybe you want to start an entrepreneur elective in your school, and maybe this could be a very good program to run entrepreneurship and have students doing the same kind of things that is happening with the Ought to Be partners. Just remember, for an official work-based learning experience, we need that outside business partner. We need a business learner agreement form. Work-based learning, 9th grade through 12th grade, it is supposed to be connected to either a student success plan, a student graduation plan, or if you're a career tech center with us today, just remember that any of those hours must be connected to their career tech program once they are in career tech education. But this specific example that Joel shared with us today definitely could be work-based learning. We just got to get that business partner added to it. I could see this as lots of different, fulfillment, as he said, lots of different fulfillment agencies and lots of different career pathways out there. Maybe you have a student who loves nail polish, right? They could be their own little business for Amazon, going out and picking out the cool colors that are popular for kids their age right now. Like, there's so much potential with this. And Joel and I were talking just the other day, like, how beautiful would it be to see students, non-identified students and identified students, working side by side to make this kind of entrepreneurship work inside of a school system first, before they're released out into the wider world. But it would just be really fantastic to start to see that kind of inclusion and integration with our students. And this is a great way that you can maybe get that started. Some other considerations, work-based learning is absolutely a graduation pathway now. So that would be part of the supporting over here with your 250 hours. But as I said, maybe if you have some students who don't have as intensive needs as some of Joel's students, maybe there are industry recognized credentials that would fit with what's going on here. He talked a little bit about marketing. So, there is an entrepreneurship IRC, there is some marketing industry recognized credentials. The Stukent social media marketing might be a good thing to partner with this. Lots of ways that you could utilize what's happening with what Joel and Autism Model School have going on to expand that and to use that toward graduation, whether it be through a true business pathway, if you wanted to add business career tech programming to your school, or if you just want to have one class as an elective. An English teacher could teach a business communications class as an elective class and utilize all of this, right? And have students with disabilities and students without disabilities working together. Lots of opportunity here, which is why I was so excited when Joel said that he would agree to share this with you guys and let you see how it's going for him. So I just wanted to remind you there are links here. This is a link if you want more information about graduation. Also on that work-based learning page, there are links here with all kinds of, the business partner agreement forms, your learner agreement forms, lots of resources at this link as well. I'll make sure that we get this slide added to the website that we have for today's different sessions. But other than that, I thank you very much for attending today. We do have a feedback for us. If you would please give us some feedback. I know Joel would love to get some feedback of your thoughts on today's session. I'll make sure that he gets those. And then also, if you would like to get a contact hour for today's session, just use this right here and you can get some contact hours. But with that, one more thing in chat, don't want to miss it. Another thank you so much for the presentation. They enjoyed it. So well done, Joel. Thank you for sharing with us today. I'm going to stop the recording.